All right, well, welcome. We're getting near the end of September already. It's another Thursday, and we have another webinar with Dave and myself. We're just kind of doing a little chatter, and we'll see what might come of any more chatter we have in the beginning of this meeting and other meetings. Anything we want to talk about, Dave, or we want to dive into the good stuff here with the
Oh,
websites?
yeah. I think we can dive in pretty quickly.
All
Just
right.
maybe for another webinar, we'll turn this into a poll. But our background chatter to lead up to this, Trish and I were just kind of discovering that we have a disproportionate number of left-handers, it appears, on the MI4P crew, and you're one of them.
There I am. But let's keep on it going here. And so, like I said, we might ask people there in the next meeting. But for today, we are going to start up where we left off. And actually, yeah, so we were in the My Website tab, website settings, and we had left off last week with the Amazon Associate, no, the week before, I should say, the Amazon Associates ID. Last week we had a little bit about website release notes, I believe, and we might touch on that again today. But I'm going to start with website colors here on the left. If you want to request a custom color, right here is where you can enter in, and we do mention acceptable color formats that you can enter in. So Hexi, RGB, if you have a Pantone value, or the CMYK. And what that does, it'll come into our tech support or customer care inbox, and we'll set that up and actually provide you a preview for you to see what that looks like on your website before you can commit to it or before we commit to it for you. So that's kind of nice. So if you would like to change the custom color, and maybe you're wondering, what do you mean by a custom color? If I look at the preview of my website, and of course now it's not gonna do what I want it to do, so let's go to a private browsing tab. Custom color, so I have this light blue color, would you say? There's buttons, there's this bar underneath my sliders. Going down further, there's another button. And then there's some more bars down here. That's what I mean by your primary color or custom color, is kind of what stands out on your website, little buttons, uh, bars like I scroll down here. So if you were to ask, hey Trish, can you send me a preview of what my custom color is? You'll see this blue. If you have blue or whatever color, will change to whatever color you were asking us to provide a preview for you.
So if I were to type in the primary color of robin egg blue, what would you do there?
Oh, I would definitely be doing some searching, and we can provide you with as many previews as needed before you can commit to that. So we'll make sure we get it right before we change your website or before you commit to that color.
So in the long run, robin's egg blue might be an acceptable color format. Is
There
it?
you go. All right. Moving on with system alerts. And this is what it says. This is an alert that's placed at the top of every page of your website. Examples, you might want to use it for emergency if you're going to close, or if there's an event coming up, and I simply have it. This is at the top of my website here. And if I pull back this to show you an example, this is at the top of my website is a red alert. To go along with the system alerts here, we have website release notes that is actually talking about the system alerts. What had been happening was the system alerts was propagating through and showing up at the top of private label websites. Now this one's a little different. That is because when you drill down to particular companies or contacts or branches, you can actually set up a system alert to show up at different levels. What had been happening was the main one was propagating to a private label website. We know that that shouldn't have been happening because a lot of the intention, or most of the intention of a PLW, is to not show reference of your website, to not show your name or what have you. So we have it set up now correctly where any main alert that is at the top will not propagate to a private label website, but you can still drill down and set up an alert to be specific to a company or a branch or a contact. So again, back to this one as an example. This is different because I drilled down to this particular company and set up their own alert. Virus alerts stay off campus. That's probably fairly applicable these days, but you can see this is different than the main one at my website or my print shop as a whole.
So two quick things just to tie in with that. If you go back to your demo sites, there is just as a reminder. As I was thinking of the CMU one actually, Well, really both of them, I guess, but just as a reminder, that was one of the reasons that, well, it was the main reason that we added that system alert in here. That was the driving force behind it, is because with this year being like no other, there's just been a little more need to get a little bit of more of a high attention alert out there for people. And just knowing that this was coming up as a topic today, I just got thinking of the good old days before our websites, how long it would take to get information out. And if you really just look at that control center setting, it's the amount of time that we're using to measure getting a message out. We're measuring that in seconds. Pretty crazy if you really sit and think about it.
Yes, that is pretty crazy there. So I appreciate you letting our viewers know about that. I'm going to switch up something real quick. So instead of jumping around, I actually would like to finish this last tab and then talk about the rest of our release notes that we have for the website. So system alerts, again, at the top of every page on your website, except the private label websites. Now the alerts here, this is actually what's displayed at the top of the account page when anyone logs into your website. Now, similar to the system alerts, you can actually drill down to a particular company or a branch or a contact and set up a different alert for them to see when they log into their account. Now this one I have set up, as you can see, for everybody here. And if I actually use that same example here, now bad choice of color, but this same alert shows up in my account when I'm logged in. So the system alerts is what shows up at the top of your website, and this alerts here on the bottom on the left, this is what shows up when folks are logged into the website. I could simply probably change the color and or not change the color, but change up a little bit if I want to make it bold, if I want to make it italicized, or what have you, and refresh, but that should be a live update since I made that bold here. But again, account summary, if you need to have a particular company, you need to disseminate information to a particular company of yours, you certainly can, and you can see that change, so that's a little bit more bold right there. So use that as needed to your advantage to get messages out to your print buyers. All right, so what I'm going to do now is focus on going over the rest of the release notes that I had mentioned that I'll go over. Let me get my bearings here. So under the Accounts tab, Customers, Customer List. If you select Export Customer List, there's a fourth option, which is pretty handy. It says Include Basic Information with Customer Reps. I'm going to export mine because it's pretty quick. I don't have that many contacts here, but opening this up, if I get my prompt here, and if not, I'll do it one more time. Basically, when you export with customer reps, just like any of these other exports, you will get a CSV that will show customer reps as one of the columns. There we go. So here we go on the far right. I do have my customer rep column. So if you ever need to do an export of all your customers and who the rep is assigned to that customer, you can do so, and feel free to filter or do as you needed, but now we have this as an option for you to show the customer rep in the far right column here. So that's something new.
Yeah, you're just about to say, I was going to say, just to make sure that if I'm remembering right, we've had that customer export for like forever. This is the new part, right? Customer rep.
The new part is, in this case, column J on mine, that now the customer rep will show up on that report if you happen to choose that specific option at this pop-up when you export. So yes, that is the new part, is this fourth one down on the bottom here. Correct, so thank you for that. Moving on, I don't really have this to show, but to mention that there are some users that still use Internet Explorer, and they were trying to log into their account and check out and see some things. So we've adjusted a couple coding pieces so that those that use Internet Explorer can continue to use it to log into their account, and everything will work as it was. So we quickly found where that was, made a quick coding update so they can continue using Internet Explorer.
There's another survey question for the future. We can do a quick sample on what browsers people are using.
Oh, that's a very good one, Dave. I'd be curious on that one. Keep that at the front there. Another thing that we had noticed is on the same page under Accounts Customers, if you were drilling down to a particular individual, so a specific contact, it wasn't showing all the needed information here on the screen. So we quickly looked at that. And so now if you drill down to a particular user individual, you will get all the information that you need, meaning if you want to edit, if you happen to want to delete someone for any reason, you could do that now. So we quickly found where that was and made that change. And then the last one that I want to mention is, and I have this queued up here, there might be cases where there's multiple addresses. So it could be shipping, it could be payment. In this case, I have multiple shipping addresses. What was happening is you'll see there's a select the shipping address. Some users were not selecting an actual shipping address down below. And so we have it set up where if I go to try and complete this order, there's a quick pop-up, please complete this mandatory field. So they are forced to select an address so that you as a print shop know what address do they need this to be mailed to, in this case, or delivered. So we made sure to update that so they're not submitting an order without an address. And if they happen to select delivery, well, where's it going to be delivered to? Now you can be rest assured they'll be forced to select that address in the drop down.
Yeah, kind of one of those weird, obscure things that's probably only going to happen maybe once every other decade, and we hit that once every other decade moment, and it won't happen again.
That's right. So again, we just wanted to make sure to cover the last 3 tabs under this website settings tab. Depending on next week, we may get into e-com settings. There may be some updated release notes, or we might jump over to another tab because there's some pretty cool updates going on in the back end that we want to make sure are in there before we dive into e-commerce settings. So we'll find out, or you'll find out, I guess, when we have this next Thursday at the same time, where we go next. And good. I also, what was that, Dave?
That's a good cliffhanger, super good cliffhanger.
There we go. And one other thing I want to quick mention, you never know if we have any new folks each week. Up here above the Help Center, there's a View Weekly Website Tutorials link. And if I click on that, that again is going to take us to this page where you can sign up to view the webinars. If you don't sign up, all the previous webinars are still listed as you scroll down. So again, that's in your control center above the Help Center tab, View Weekly Website Tutorials, and all the past ones are going to be listed, allowing you to also sign up. So I forgot to mention at the beginning, but I'll mention that now. You know what? That is all I have for this week, which actually took up a little bit more time than I thought, but we always want to make sure we're clear and concise. If you still have questions, you're not seeing or understanding what we were talking about or what I was talking about, please send us a chat or an email and we will be sure to get back to you. We don't want to leave you hanging there, except for what's happening next week. We'll leave you hanging on that one. So with that, Dave, I think we're going to wrap it up. Does that sound good?
We're out of here.
All right, you folks, everyone have a great rest of your Thursday, and thank you for attending, and we will see you next week. Thank you.